Hello, Morgan County. This is your Sheriff, Casey Bohr. I'd like to address a couple things that have came out to the attention during this campaign, and I'd like to correct the record, possibly a few misunderstandings. One thing that has concerned some folks is that the Morgan County Sheriff's Department does not have night coverage. Typically, we have 11 officers, 12 sometimes, and myself, and 4 state troopers that staff this county. As you can imagine, trying to do that 24/7 is not very easy. We do have night coverage. We do take calls between 2 a.m. and 6 a.m. in the morning. It's not that I like that, but as a manager, you have to look at staffing and you have to look at efficiency and officer safety. One of the things the officers came to me when I was running for sheriff and even after, they were very concerned that they had to work by themselves after midnight all the time with no backup. The closest backup being out of Berkeley County or Hampshire County to come to their aid on a serious call. Looking at the manpower that we had, the staffing that we had, and the efficiency, I began to do research on the call ratio in this county. Typically, summer months are the busiest for any law enforcement agency. During the period of June, July, and August, we typically have about 5 to 6 calls per month. 2 weeks out of the month, calls are handled by the West Virginia State Police. They have no night unit either, and they can't with only 4 troopers in the county. Looking at these call ratios, we realized 5 calls in a period of a month split between us and the state police meant we had 2 to 3 calls a month. It was much more efficient and safer for us as an agency to have our officers out when they were needed the most, during the daylight and during the evening hours. So I made the hard but the prudent decision to have people on call from 2 a.m. to 6 a.m. to serve your needs. There's always an officer on call, there's always a command officer on call, and we do answer those calls. We have not appreciated any increase in calls during those hours. I would love to have a midnight shift, but honestly, with the amount of manpower we have, it's just not feasible. I also would like to talk a little bit about manpower at this time. For periods of time last year, we had 7 officers and myself. Some of this had to do with sick leave, some of this has to do with our officers who serve in the military, and some of this has to do with vacations and training and other events. It's very hard to stretch the manpower out, but we do the best that we can. Retention is a problem as well. We have great retention at this time, but recruitment is our paramount issue. 6 months it took me to give a civil service test recently. I had 19 applicants. Out of the 19, 9 showed up to take the test. Out of the 9, only 2 passed. As you can imagine, it's hard to recruit, retain officers, not just in Morgan County, but everywhere. Nobody really wants to be in law enforcement anymore, and sometimes salary is a factor. I am very proud that over the past 3 years as your sheriff working with the county commission that I have been able to get a 15% plus pay raise for the officers in our department. It's not where it needs to be, but it's a great step. So we do have night coverage. We cover this county as best that we can, and I thank you for your indulgence and your time.